All right. So, this is our homemade video. I have my computer set up on a tripod made of 10 books, a blanket, a pillow, and a chair. So if it falls over, you'll know what happened. I have my crystal Carrington soft lighting. It's a little bit of a frizzy day. I can't do much about that. I put on lipstick because I like him. And I can't promise that there won't be ambient noise from outside or guest dog appearances. And I'm not much of a film editor, so it's extremely likely that I will say wrong words and stuff. But let's do this. This is Ken Foster's story Missing from the collection The Kind I'm Likely to Get. Missing by Ken Foster. They were in the middle of an argument when Don got rid of the bird. Not one of those long, slow-burning disagreements. This one was the real thing. Loud voices, screaming, the threat that at any moment one of them might spill over the line and let the whole thing become physical. Later, it occurred to Lara that perhaps she should have become physical with Don. She would have lost, but at least she wouldn't have to spend all this time thinking back on it and thinking about the bird. It had been another Saturday night where she came home without him. Another Saturday night with Don, saying he needed to stay at the bar for just one more drink. And she had fallen asleep waiting as usual, while Javier marched back and forth in his cage like one of the guardsmen in The Wizard of Oz. "You killed her," she imagined someone saying. "You killed the Wicked Witch of the West." The next morning, while Don slept through his hangover and who knows what else, Lara called her mother to say they wouldn't be making it over that afternoon. Things had gotten away from them, she lied, and there were too many chores that had to be done. Then, feeling guilty about the lie, she set out to cleaning around him. She vacuumed the apartment, dusted around him, and moved all furniture but the couch he slept on. When there was nothing else left to be done, she did all the laundry and stripped off his clothes to throw them in. It was around this time that Don began stirring. Javier had been quietly watching the whole thing transpire, standing transfixed as he stared through the bars of the cage. Lara always felt there was a connection between them, but there were certain things about which Javier had a sixth sense. He would get so quiet and still, it was easy to imagine he was contemplating things. Sometimes when they argued, Javier lifted one wing to cover his face like a geisha girl. There were some things he was smart enough not to express. Don made fun of this, said Javier seemed a little touched, if you know what I mean. Don didn't like waking up with a hangover, and was even less patient with the world when he woke up naked, with his girlfriend and her parrot looking over him like they had room to judge. That's when the shouting started. Lara decided there was nothing more humiliating than arguing with a naked man, humiliating for both of them. She was distracted by this low-level epiphany, and Don grabbed the cage and headed out to the terrace, stumbling a bit as he struggled with the two doors, first the sliding glass door to the terrace, then the wire sliding door to the cage. They stood in silence together at the railing as Javier shrank in the air. "He'll be back," Don announced, but Don never knew what he was talking about. That was almost a year ago, long enough that she almost doesn't think of Don anymore, or of the bird. But for a few weeks before she finally moved out, Don had tried to win her back by distributing thousands of flyers around town, asking for Javier's return. She still sees them occasionally, on telephone poles or on the overcrowded bulletin boards at the back of coffee houses. It has her old phone number next to Don's, and above that a photo of Javier, that cute, thoughtful face of his that he sometimes tried to hide. And at the top it says "Missing."